Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're exploring a truly ambitious concept, transforming skill development across, well, an entire nation. Imagine the complexity, the sheer scale of doing something like that.
It's an enormous challenge, absolutely. And the initial blueprint we've reviewed for this initiative, Project Antaryami, it actually started as a purely commercial project.
Right, purely commercial.
Yeah, envisioning massive investment and aiming for, equally massive returns.
But what if that path, despite its initial kind of dazzling financial projections, just wasn't the right fit? Maybe not for the deeper social goals they really wanted to achieve. That's often the tension, isn't it?
It absolutely is. You hit the nail on the head there. Commercial viability versus profound social impact.
Yeah.
And Project Antaryami found itself right at that crossroads. What came out of it was this, radical strategic re-envisioning.
Yeah.
A complete pivot.
To pivot.
Yeah, away from its original commercial aims to embrace the model of a social enterprise.
Wow. That's a profound and, frankly, pretty counterintuitive shift, going from big money to social enterprise.
It really is.
Now, you've provided us with an incredible stack of sources for this deep dive. The initial business plans, revised investment analyses, detailed roadmaps. It's quite a pile.
We definitely have a rich set of documents to unpack here. Our mission today, really, is to peel back these layers, to truly understand how this business model evolved, compare its financial goals with its social aspirations, and maybe highlight the surprising strategic shifts that, they could serve as a blueprint for other large-scale ventures, perhaps even globally.
I think there's some really powerful lessons here for anyone looking at impact, at scale. So to really get our heads around Project Antaryami's transformation, we need to start at the beginning, right? The genesis, the Antaryami VA Academy.
Exactly, the seed of the idea.
Looking at its initial standalone business plan, this first concept sounds incredibly practical, almost self-contained.
It was very focused, designed to meet a clear, immediate market need for virtual assistants. It struck me as a remarkably solid foundation, actually.
So it was conceived as this self-contained, skill-based training center. And the sources say they offered, a 1-month VA training course?
That's right, and also a train-the-trainer certification program.
Okay, train the trainer too. And it was hybrid, offline and online.
Yep, hybrid mode, with a batch capacity of about 25-30 students.
And who are they aiming for initially? Who was the target audience?
The plan targeted quite a broad audience: graduates, homemakers, rural youth, freelancers, people looking for flexible work, really.
And the fee was around $25,000 per student.
Yeah, about that, $25,000.
So what were the key lessons then from this small-scale success that convinced them this idea had legs, maybe even national potential?
Well, this initial academy wasn't just a plan on paper, you see. It was a real-world test lab. It proved pretty conclusively that there was strong market demand for job-ready VAs, and crucially, it showed that a standardized curriculum could actually make individuals employable fairly quickly.
Employable quickly. That's key.
Very key.
And the financial snapshot from those sources is quite telling, isn't it? What were the standout figures that really proved its viability, on that smaller scale?
The initial setup costs were surprisingly lean, just $10,050,000.
$10.5 lakh. Okay.
Yeah, and that covered the essentials: 15 computers, projector, furniture, internet, basically everything you needed for a functional training center.
And the monthly running costs?
Projected at about $2,020,000 per month.
Okay, so not insignificant, but manageable.
But here's the truly insightful part, the bit that really jumps out. Their break-even point. It was incredibly low.
How low?
Just 9 students per month.
Only 9 students. Wow, that really underlines the efficiency, doesn't it?
It does. That remarkably thin break-even point proved the fundamental unit economics were sound. It showed that even a small start could validate a core model that was, potentially ready for significant scaling.
Okay, so the numbers worked on a small scale. But what was the secret sauce? You mentioned the curriculum. What was in their course content? How did they ensure students were truly job ready, beyond just knowing Word and Excel?
The curriculum was pretty comprehensive. It covered the technical tools you'd expect, MS Office, Google Workspace.
The basics.
Right. But it also delved into more specific things like CRM systems and, crucially, how to navigate freelancing platforms like Upwork and Fiverr.
Ah, okay. So practical job finding skills, too.
Exactly. And beyond the hard skills.
Yeah.
They placed a really strong emphasis on soft skills. Things like client management, professional communication.
Always important.
Definitely. And productivity tools like Trello, Slack, Zoom. Plus, and this is critical, they offered certification support and direct placement guidance.
So that dual focus, practical skills and help finding a job, that was baked in from the start.
Absolutely integral. And like you said, it's a thread we'll see weaving through the entire project as it grew and changed.
Okay, so that initial academy sounds like a strong start, a real proof of concept, validated the core idea. But transforming a whole nation's skill landscape that demands a much bigger vision, right? A much bigger symphony.
Oh, definitely.
What was the vision for Project Antaryami's second act when they really started thinking about scaling up commercially?
Right. This is where the scale just explodes. Right. Project Antaryami's initial commercial scaling vision was, well, it was to create this massive franchise network.
Okay. Franchise model makes sense for scale.
Yeah. And when you say massive, the sources indicate they were aiming for coverage in over 18,000 PIN codes across India.
18,000 PIN codes. For our listeners outside India, those are postal codes. Yeah. That essentially means they intended to reach virtually every corner of the country.
It was incredibly audacious as a goal. This original model was clearly designed for, aggressive commercial returns and maximum market penetration.
And the market's huge, right? The total addressable market in India for skill development, corporate training, it's estimated at over, 75,000 crores?
That's the figure, yeah. A huge market. So the ambition was definitely tied to seizing a significant slice of that pie.
Makes sense. But the investment needed for that original plan.
Yeah.
The numbers looked, staggering.
Staggering is the right word. The projection was somewhere between 3,280 and 5,325 crores.
Wow. 3,000 to over 5,000 crore rupees.
Yeah. To put that in perspective for everyone, we're talking hundreds of millions, potentially billions of US dollars over 5 years.
That's huge, usually reserved for massive infrastructure projects, not necessarily skills training.
Exactly.
And phase one alone, just year one, required 150 to 250 crores.
What was that initial chunk covering? Primarily developing a really robust tech platform, a sophisticated learning management system, LMS, a virtual working environment, mobile apps, the whole digital infrastructure.
Okay, the tech backbone.
Right, plus content development and setting up the initial 100 franchise locations.
Right, 100 locations just to start. That's truly significant investment. So to justify that kind of capital, the projected returns must have been equally immense, right?
They had to be.
What revenue streams were they looking at, and what kind of ROI were they chasing with this purely commercial approach?
The projected ROI was indeed enormous. And the revenue streams they proposed were diverse and, you have to say, very aggressive.
Like what? Give us some examples.
Okay, so things like franchise fees, maybe 2 to 5 lakhs per franchise setup.
Okay.
Royalties, maybe 8-12% of the franchise's ongoing revenue. Direct training fees from students, anywhere from $5,000 up to that $25,000 per student. And even placement fees taking 10-15% of a candidate's first-year salary if they were placed through the program. Tech licensing, corporate training contracts, lots of streams.
So multiple streams feeding into that commercial engine. It sounds quite complex. And the projected ROI number.
The financial ROI for this version was projected to be incredibly high. It ranged from what they called a conservative 40.5% annually.
40% annual ROI is conservative.
Apparently. All the way up to an optimistic 165.7% annually by year 5.
Whoa. Okay, 165%. Those are staggering returns, truly. But the sources also flag some pretty significant risks with this approach, don't they?
They certainly do. And they seem quite realistic. Concerns about market saturation eventually, especially in a vast market like India.
Makes sense.
Significant challenges with technology adoption, particularly in India's vast rural areas. You can't just assume everyone has reliable internet or the latest device.
True. And the sheer difficulty of maintaining consistent quality control across what was potentially 18,000 plus locations.
Yeah.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare. How do you ensure quality at that scale?
It absolutely was a huge risk factor, plus potential cultural adoption issues.
Right.
Maybe a purely commercial model might feel a bit, extractive in some communities.
Right, not locally owned.
Exactly. This was a pure commercial play, prioritizing profit maybe above all else. And that high-risk, high-reward scenario, I think, led directly to a major strategic rethink.
Okay, so this initial massive commercial plan with its sky-high hopes and, let's be honest, equally high risks.
Yeah.
Sounds like it maybe hit a wall, or at least they saw a wall coming.
That seems to be the case.
Was there a specific moment, a turning point documented, where they just realized this wasn't the right path forward.
This is where the story of Project Antaryami takes its most dramatic and, honestly, quite counterintuitive turn.
Okay, I'm listening. This sounds interesting.
Instead of, doubling down on that capital-intensive commercial model, finding more investors, they executed a complete U-turn.
A U-turn.
A total 180. They slashed their projected investment by, get this, 85%.
85%. How? How is that even possible? Going from billions of dollars down, where did the money go? Or rather, where did the need for it go?
It's incredible, isn't it? And they didn't just cut costs, they completely re-envisioned the entire initiative as a social enterprise.
Okay, so a fundamental shift in identity.
Absolutely. The new total investment estimate, it's down to just 618 to 902 crores.
600 to 900 crore. That's a world of difference from the 3 to 5,000 crore they were talking about before.
Huge difference.
This pivot isn't just about saving money, is it? It feels like it reveals something profound strategically.
I think it does. It forced a fundamental rethinking of how capital and impact intersect for truly transformative social change, especially at that kind of national scale.
Yeah.
A pure profit maximization mindset, surprisingly, can often be the biggest barrier. It sounds weird, but the drive for maximum profit can sometimes get in the way of maximum impact.
That's a really interesting point.
By embracing this social enterprise model, they're not just lowering the investment needed, which is huge in itself, they're unlocking a different kind of capital impact investment.
Right, money looking for social return, too.
Exactly. And they're aiming for a much greater overall return that extends far beyond just the financial metrics. It's about blended value.
Okay, so they've slashed investment by 85%, which is mind-boggling, yet they still aim for massive impact. How do they plan to fund this radically cheaper vision, especially now embracing this social enterprise idea? That's the $1 million or maybe billion rupee question, right?
It is, and that's the core issue they had to address, balancing that big impact ambition with financial viability, long-term sustainability.
So what's the new philosophy?
Their core philosophy for this social enterprise version is now explicitly mission-driven. It prioritizes employment generation and social good over just maximizing profit.
But it still needs to be sustainable, right? It can't just be charity if it's an enterprise.
Exactly. It's not charity. It's designed to be sustainable. It's community-centric, focused on local ownership and participation.
Okay.
It's still technology-enabled, but using digital-first, low-cost infrastructure. And ultimately, it's designed to be self-sustaining within the community fabric.
So how do they fund it then, if not purely through commercial investors chasing that 165% ROI?
They're leveraging what's known as a blended finance approach.
Blended finance. Okay, I've heard that term. How does that practically enable a project like Antaryami to achieve its massive social goals, but still stay afloat, maybe even thrive financially?
Think of it as strategically layering different types of money. You have patient capital, maybe from foundations or government grants, coming in early.
Okay, the risk takers.
Right. They absorb the initial risk, which then makes the project more attractive for impact investors who want both social and financial returns.
De-risking it for the next layer.
Precisely. And that might even de-risk it enough for some more traditional funds down the line. But crucially, the social mission stays right at the forefront because that early money demands the social return. It's about aligning incentives across different kinds of capital providers.
It sounds like a financial mosaic almost. Each piece playing a specific role in keeping the mission alive and the project viable.
That's a good way to put it.
It allows them to chase that deep social impact in a way that purely profit-first funding probably wouldn't support, right? It wouldn't have the patience.
Exactly. The timelines and risk profiles are different.
But how are they actually implementing this on the ground? It's still a huge vision, even if it's cheaper. What does the operational model look like now? How do they reach those 18,000 PIN codes without spending billions?
They're using a hub-and-spoke model. A tiered, decentralized structure designed for massive reach, but with much reduced central investment and overhead.
A network then, really.
Precisely. They envision about 750 district hubs as the main centers.
Okay, one per district, roughly.
Yeah. Then 6,000 block centers, sort of smaller branches, and then over 12,000 village-level access points, right down at the grassroots, using existing infrastructure where possible.
Wow. Still massive reach, but built very differently, more distributed.
More distributed.
And that radical cut in investment, that 85% reduction, must come from some truly innovative cost optimization strategies beyond just the structure.
They've been incredibly creative looking at the plans. On the technology side, for example, instead of building everything bespoke and super expensive,
Yeah.
they're customizing open source LMS solutions.
Smart. Cheaper, collaborative potential.
Exactly. They're fostering community development for content creation using cloud-native infrastructure.
Meaning they only pay for what they actually use, like computing power or storage.
Precisely. It's like a utility bill for their software and storage, much more scalable, much less upfront cost compared to buying massive servers.
Makes sense.
And they're designing everything mobile first, which is key for India, with crucial offline capability for those rural areas with spotty or no internet.
That offline part is critical. So that covers the tech. But what about physical infrastructure? They still need buildings, computers, chairs, right? Even for 12,000 access points.
They're being incredibly lean and resourceful here, too. This required a complete shift in mindset, really, moving away from, top-down control towards empowering the community.
Trusting local partners more.
Absolutely. They're actively partnering with existing community centers, schools, libraries, panchayat buildings.
Using what's already there.
Leveraging shared resources. They're opting for equipment leasing in many cases instead of outright buying everything, and even using refurbished equipment where it makes sense and doesn't compromise quality.
That's remarkably resourceful, almost frugal, but strategically so. And operationally, how do they save money day to day? Staffing all those places must cost something.
Again, lean and community-focused. They're relying heavily on community coordinators, often working on stipends rather than full salaries.
So people embedded locally.
Deeply embedded, part of the community. They're also fostering a lot of peer-to-peer learning among the students themselves, reducing the need for constant instructor intervention, performance incentives, bulk procurement, even focusing on energy efficiency in the centers. It all adds up.
It sounds like it radically changes the entire cost structure. Makes it much more resilient, maybe, and fosters that local ownership you talked about.
That seems to be the goal.
This is a really impressive blend of resourcefulness and smart, mission-aligned design. Now, the revenue model for this social enterprise version, it sounds like it's also diversified beyond just that blended finance piece we discussed.
Right.
How else do they plan to generate funds to keep this running?
It is indeed diversified. Beyond the grants and impact investment, they anticipate modest community contributions. Maybe 100 to 500 euro per training session. The idea is buy-in commitment rather than profit, keeping it highly accessible.
Very affordable, yeah.
They're also building robust government partnerships, tapping into national skill development schemes like NSDC.
Leveraging existing programs.
Right. And leveraging corporate CSR funds, corporate social responsibility money. Many companies have mandates to spend on social good.
Ah, smart. Tapping into that.
They still have micro-franchise fees for the local centers, but significantly lower now, maybe 10,000 to 50,000, much more manageable for a local entrepreneur.
Okay, much lower barrier to entry.
And this is quite unique, a success-based earnings model.
Okay, you mentioned this briefly. How does that work again?
They plan to take a small percentage, around 5% of a placed candidate's salary,
Okay.
but only for the first 6 months after that candidate gets a job through their program.
Ah, okay. So they only earn if the person actually succeeds in getting and keeping a job via their system. That truly aligns incentives, doesn't it?
Precisely. Their success is tied directly to the student's success. Plus, they have additional streams planned, like digital services, maybe data insights, and are even exploring things like social impact bonds for the future.
Wow.
This whole blend allows for sustainability without needing that massive upfront commercial capital. It lets the project stand on its own feet, hopefully, while passionately pursuing its social mission.
It's just incredible to see how shifting the underlying model from pure commercial to social enterprise can completely change the financial and social landscape of a project this big.
It's a fundamental shift.
So when you put the two visions side by side, the original commercial behemoth and this leaner social enterprise, what truly stands out about the projected returns now?
Well, what's truly fascinating here is the deliberate choice they made. They consciously chose to prioritize broad social transformation,
Right.
yet structured it in a way that maintains financial viability. This isn't meant to be a loss-making charity. It has to wash its own face, as they say.
Right. Sustainable. So while that original purely commercial plan offered potentially higher financial ROI, remember those crazy numbers, 40 to 165%.
Yes, those huge headline numbers. This social enterprise model still projects a very respectable 31% annual financial ROI.
Still nearly 30%. That's pretty good.
It's solid. with a projected year 5 net surplus, remember, surplus, not profit, of around 180 to 277 crores, enough to be self-sustaining and reinvest in growth.
Okay, so financially viable. But the real headline, the thing that must have really grabbed attention in this revised plan, is the projected social ROI.
Ah, yes, the social return on investment. How do they even measure that? The sources mention an astonishing 80 to 110 times the initial investment. How does that calculation work?
That's a great question. That 80 to 110 times figure is derived using frameworks like SRY, which stands for Social Return on Investment.
Okay.
It attempts to quantify the social, economic, and environmental value created for every rupee or dollar invested. This includes things like calculating the value of increased incomes for graduates, improved health outcomes from employment, reduced reliance on social welfare, maybe environmental benefits from reduced migration.
So it monetizes the impact.
It tries to put a value on it, yes, to express it as a multiple of the initial investment. So it's not just a feel-good metric. It's a rigorous attempt, or at least an attempt at rigor, to capture that comprehensive blended value.
Okay, I see. And 80 to 110 times. That's a phenomenal multiplier. What does that mean in real terms, like for the country?
It means they're aiming for impact on a national scale. They're not just thinking about the project's bottom line. They're focused on building immense economic and social value across India.
Right.
The documents translate this into tangible outcomes, like aiming to create 2 to 5 million direct and indirect jobs.
Million. Wow.
Yeah, training 10 to 20 million people over a long term. And generating a massive, wait for it, 50,000 to 100,000 crores in economic value for the country by year 5.
50,000 to 100,000 crores, just from skilling people and enabling employment through this network.
By enabling employment, higher earnings, the multiplier effect of that money circulating, yes. That's the potential economic footprint they're projecting. It's a powerful statement, isn't it?
It really is.
In a world often obsessed with quarterly profits, Project Antaryami seems to be betting on the long game, the compounding effect of investing in human potential and community strength.
Those are genuinely impactful numbers if they can achieve even a fraction of that, truly capturing value far beyond what just financial returns could ever measure. And the specific success metrics they've set for themselves seem very concrete, too, not just fuzzy goals.
They are very specific. The sources list clear key performance indicators, or KPIs. Things like aiming for an 80% job placement rate for their graduates.
That's ambitious.
Very ambitious.
Extremely.
Mm-hmm.
A 200% average salary increase for people after the training?
Doubling salaries on average.
That's the target. A 90% community satisfaction score. A target of 50% women participation.
Important for inclusion.
Definitely. And 60% rural participants, truly focusing on reaching those often underserved areas. The whole pitch for this revised model is explicitly described as highly suitable for impact investors, showcasing that deep social change can genuinely go hand in hand with meaningful, sustainable returns. It's moving beyond that old trade-off idea.
It's really about trying to build a self-reinforcing cycle, isn't it? Where success in placing people fuels more impact and credibility, which in turn fuels more financial sustainability and growth, which enables more impact.
Exactly, a virtuous cycle.
Yeah.
And bringing it full circle, maybe?
Yeah.
Back to where we started with that initial Antaryami VA Academy concept, how does that original idea fit into this huge social enterprise machine now? It sounds like it's still a key engine, maybe, both for the financial side and the social goals.
It's absolutely fully integrated. It's become a core component. This integrated model essentially transforms Project Antaryami from being just a training provider into a comprehensive end-to-end talent development and VA services company, creating this self-sustaining, job-generating ecosystem.
So it revisits that initial VA Academy idea, but now it's integrated into the larger Project Antaryami framework as a specific training to employment franchise offering.
Yeah.
PAVA and PAVN, they call it the Academy and the Network.
Precisely. PAVA, the Antaryami VA Academy, feeds into PAVN, the Antaryami VA Network.
And you mentioned a guaranteed employment pathway earlier. How does that specific aspect differentiate them? Because it must be a pretty crowded market for skills training out there.
That's their core differentiator, really. It's the training plus that guaranteed pathway into their own VA network. It's not just, here's a course certificate, good luck finding a job out there.
Right. It's explicitly pitched as train with us, succeed, and you have a placement waiting within our network.
Exactly. This integrated network doesn't just help them ensure quality control over the VAs they train because they're placing them internally, essentially, but it critically addresses that major pain point, that big anxiety for learners actually getting a job afterward. Few others can guarantee that so directly, especially at their price point. It creates a significant competitive advantage.
That's a huge value proposition, you're right. Especially for their target audience, graduates, homemakers, rural youth. Removing that big uncertainty about finding work must be incredibly appealing.
It's powerful.
So, for the franchisees running these PAVA centers now, what's their incentive? How does the money flow in this integrated model? It needs to work for them, too.
Absolutely. The model offers dual revenue streams, which makes it very attractive for the franchise partner.
Okay, tell us more. Dual streams.
Okay, first, there's the upfront training revenue. The franchisee gets to keep an aggressive 80% of that $25,000 course fee.
80%, that's high.
It is high. So that's $20,000 directly to the franchisee for each student they enroll and train. The central hub, the main Project Antaryami entity, gets the remaining 20% or $5,000 to cover central costs, curriculum development, the tech platform, quality control, etc.
Okay, 80-20 split on training fees. And the second stream.
The second is the ongoing VA network revenue. This is crucial for the central hub's long-term sustainability. The hub retains 30% of the monthly billing for each VA placed through the network. Based on their projected average billing of around $15,000 per month per VA, the central hub gets about $4,500 of that every month for every VA working in the network.
I see.
This provides a consistent, ongoing income stream that funds central operations and further growth. But for the franchisee, that big 80% chunk upfront on the training fee is clearly the main initial draw.
Yeah, that aggressive 80% share on the training fee the plan suggests, a franchisee could potentially earn 1.2 lakhs per month with just 6 enrollments, makes becoming a franchise partner seem very appealing financially.
Definitely lowers the risk for them.
They're basically incentivizing the franchisees heavily to get people trained and into the system, knowing the central hub will then benefit from the ongoing network participation down the line. It aligns everyone towards getting people skilled and employed.
It seems cleverly designed to do just that.
How does this entire setup, the relatively affordable Euro 25,000 honor price, the 80-20 split, the integrated model, the placement guarantee stack up against other players in the Indian skills market? You know, the big names like NIIT or those premium online platforms.
It really seems to carve out a unique niche for itself. You have established players like NIT, of course, with a strong brand and a very wide range of IT courses, but perhaps a broader, less specifically integrated focus than this VA model.
Okay.
Then you have the premium online platforms like Craftshalla or Upgrad, perhaps. They often offer placement guarantees and high-touch support, which is great, but their fees are significantly higher, typically $60,000 or more, sometimes much more.
So different market segment, different price sensitivity.
Exactly. And at the other end of the spectrum, you have free or very low-cost global certifications, maybe from Google or Coursera. These are fantastic for access to learning content. But they usually don't come with that direct, structured placement support and network integration that Project Antaryami is building its model around.
Right, so Project Antaryami's advantages seem quite clear. That aggressive 80% revenue share makes it easier to attract franchise partners. The affordable $25,000 price point makes it accessible to a wider range of learners.
Lower barrier to entry on both sides.
Yeah, and it's a focused, franchise-friendly model built around that integrated network with that critical placement guarantee, or at least pathway.
That guaranteed employment pathway, or at least the strong likelihood of placement within their own system, really addresses the core anxiety for learners. Will I actually get a job after this? In a way that few others can match at this price point. That's their moat, as they say in business.
Their competitive advantage.
Exactly.
This all sounds incredibly well designed on paper, leveraging incredible resourcefulness and strategic thinking. The theory is one thing. As of today, looking at the recent documents, what are some of the tangible results Project Antaryami is actually seeing in the real world? Is this social enterprise model delivering on its promise?
It seems to be showing significant early traction, yes, as per their July 2025 impact report that you provided.
All right, the latest one.
They already have 10 active franchisees plus over 25 affiliates. They've trained more than 1,500 students already.
1,500 trained, okay.
And here's a key stat. They're reporting a remarkable 100% placement success rate so far for those completing the PAVA program.
100% placement. That's That's huge if sustainable.
It is. They're deploying over 250 VAs into the network monthly now, and the franchisees, they're earning a healthy 3.15 lakhs per month on average per franchisee.
Okay, so the model works for the partners too.
It seems so. The central hub itself, the core organization, achieved break-even within just 3 months of launching this integrated model.
3 months, wow.
And projects an annual surplus of nearly 6 crores based on current run rates.
So financially stable early on. What about the social impact side?
The report highlights that too. Beyond the financials, they calculate they've already redistributed over 1.5 crore in earnings back to rural youth through the VAs placed. They've brought affordable education, starting around 14,000 for some basic modules, to underserved areas.
And importantly, they boast over 50% women participation, many from Tier 3 cities and rural zones. They even mention an eco-impact angle by enabling remote work. They argue they're reducing urban migration and associated emissions.
Those are concrete, real-world results that truly seem to underline the viability and the impact of this strategic pivot they made. It's not just theory anymore.
The early signs are definitely promising.
So we've really journeyed through Project Antaryami today, from that initial, quite practical idea of a single virtual assistant academy.
Humble beginnings.
Yeah. Through its expansive, almost overwhelming initial commercial vision with those huge investment numbers.
Billions of dollars potential.
To this remarkable and, I think, deeply innovative pivot into becoming a social enterprise.
It's quite a transformation to track, moving from that purely profit-first mindset to one really rooted in purpose but still focused on sustainability. This deep dive has truly highlighted the profound impact of choosing a different strategic model, hasn't it? How shifting from purely commercial thinking to a social enterprise framework drastically cut the investment needed by that incredible 85% figure.
Just amazing.
While aiming to maximize social impact.
Yeah.
And crucially, still offering substantial, sustainable financial returns. It shows those two things don't have to be mutually exclusive.
It really demonstrates that innovation isn't always about, fancy new technology or some disruptive gadget. Sometimes, maybe often, it's fundamentally about reimagining the business model itself.
Right.
Finding ways to align profit, or rather surplus and sustainability, with purpose right from the core design, not just as an add-on or CSR initiative.
So if Project Antaryami's success, or potential success, hinges on this rethinking of profit and purpose, it really begs a bigger question for all of us, doesn't it? What could happen if more large-scale ventures started seeing social impact not just as a nice-to-have or a cost center, but as potentially the ultimate competitive advantage, as something integral to their financial model and long-term resilience?
It's a powerful thought.
How might a focus on community ownership, blended finance, radical cost optimization for accessibility? How might that transform not just skill development, but perhaps other really traditional, maybe even broken industries, like healthcare, maybe basic education, or even climate adaptation solutions?
Yeah. What other sectors could benefit from this kind of thinking?
Exactly. Something for you, our listeners, to think about.